Hey, it's me, Brian, and I'm here with Jay, and we are back from Wampum, PA, where it is, in fact, not always sunny.
I'm saying, how's Pittsburgh work? Am I constantly going in and out of Pittsburgh throughout the day, yes or no?
No.
Actually, you know what? Wampum is near Pittsburgh, which is a long-ass way from Philadelphia. Big state there, dude.
I'm just reading.
Pitt Race is a gorgeous track. It's right outside the town of Big Beaver, PA. No comment necessary there. And we had a great cast of judges for this race.
Yeah, there was myself, Judge Brian. That's the name written on my underwear. There was Tim Wood, what can't it do, Burr. He had the always graceful Judge Janice German joining us as always. And in his rookie debut as a judge, the well-known Lemons racer and Jay Lamb's lawyer, Pat Mulry.
As is often the case, the weather was a little gray and chilly, but East Coasters, they don't care. They showed up, they were raring to go, which is a good thing because this is a very technical track. It is very fast, it's got a lot of elevation changes, and that can be problematic depending on your lemony chariot of choice. The judges sorted out a lot of the usual suspects.
Out on cold tires.
Yeah?
Took the green going down the hill and
Yeah?
the loop-de-loop going up the hill.
All right.
In fact, I regret to report there was just a ton of BMWs. There was like 7 E30s, 4 E36s, and 6, no less than 6 E46s. I hate E46s. But on the positive side, we also had three Cordobas. And I like that so much, I'm just going to say We had the world's largest group of running and racing Saturns, and we had one Merkur, but it caused like 40 cars worth of trouble.
Turns out that when you melt the wheel bearings on your XR4 Ti to heat that causes magnesium to liquefy, it starts to smell a lot like
propane and propane accessories.
Tarmac stayed dry all weekend, a little rare at this track, but everything off track was muddy and gross, and that was good news for one guy only, Ian, our famous tow guy, and he had a fine weekend, let me tell you.
So buckle up for some top tier BS as we get into the BS and interesting themes.
Oh, God.
Some teams played it safe, others flew off the handle. Kicking off BS, the boys from The Gang Buys a Race Car came to play in a 2001 Mustang, each dressed like a different version of Nick Cage from all of his very famous movies. I'll let you decipher which ones were which.
Nah.
They came with their tech sheet Elmer's glued to the back of a copy of the real Declaration of Independence. In fact, they had 3 copies of this fine document, each with secret messages written on the back. I think one even told us what our bribe was. They stayed out of the penalty box most of the weekend, and for that, they deserve an Oscar.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Team Legendary with their Acura, they showed up. Hey, honestly, nothing really says phoning it in like, let's get some black paint and some white paint and make a cow out of it. Although, these guys, they did put functional udders on top, which Judge Tim Burr actually drank. Again, is that good? Is that bad? It's hard to say.
You are legendary.
Apex Obsessed is back after a long hiatus. These guys showed up with the most unhinged theme. It started with Judge Tim eating what was basically a chocolate Twinkie out of a diaper. We finally got to what was going on, and their theme was, my wife said we could go to the racetrack if you take the kids. You know what? See for yourself. It was a good laugh, and we encourage you to seek help immediately. Like, seriously, if you're watching right now, stop and call for help.
The ever-reliable Cheese Bowl Enterprises showed up, and their theme was Puddin. And we scratched our heads because we had no idea what the hell they were doing. All right, so this was some obscure skit.
With $240.
With the pudding.
With the pudding.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow they decided that, like, I don't know, bringing a half a ton of pudding was a good idea. Positive news was at the potluck, everybody got to eat pudding. After the potluck, they even went out into the paddock. Everybody who was working on their cars all night, they got free pudding. So I guess that's a good theme. And they got a Camaro, so nicely done.
This next one was inspired by one of the most elegant expression of automotive diplomacy in the history of racing. Team Needles Up Racing brought a tribute Tommy Milner Daytona salute with a twist. After day one, an anonymous team reported the middle finger was distracting. Y'all just jealous. But the judges decided, what's it hurting? At least people are paying attention. So we said, put that arm back on. Now, the interesting part about this story was they happened to be paddocked next to members of the Pratt Miller team who were very excited to see this car and take pictures and send it back to the originator of it, Circle of Life. Hella sweet.
Team Silent but Deadly, they were Signal Gate. They created a signal chat and accidentally invited all of the judges and told them what they were doing. And you know what? We thought that was kind of funny, but then it also depressed us because you know what? Our real life. And but terrible.
We also had the good folks at Yeti GBP, which is the Green Beret Project. And for those of you who don't know what the Green Beret Project is, it's a nonprofit program that focuses on helping youth in underserved communities discover their potential, rise above challenges, and become confident leaders. It also gives them the opportunity to fall in love with the skilled trades, like auto tech and working on hoopties. Also, they get to race. If you think about it, Lemons is truly a testament of proper preparation, discipline, and human perseverance. The team leaders and their accompanying utes
Did you say utes?
were rad and had a pretty killer weekend and only a couple of issues, but we'll get back to that in a minute. And although they may not be associated with Yeti the brand, they did bring a cooler to raffle off at the award ceremony, and that was pretty cool.
Well, that's great and all, but you know, it's all fun and games until somebody starts screwing up, and there was a lot of screwing up. There were 98 penalties on Saturday alone. That is a ton for us. Fortunately, the judges had some excellent penalties. They introduced the twister. Just as it sounds, the entire team has to do twister until they're done. Last man standing, he has to drive the next pit.
There was a new penalty that was gifted to the judges called the and stroke, which was essentially a game of mini golf that you play while sitting on the toilet. They were having a lot of trouble and they struggled for like 15 minutes. But good news, one of the judges,
Wood. What can't it do?
This message brought to you by the Wood Council.
happens to be our resident golf pro, and he taught them how to do this properly, and next thing you know, the putt was golden.
My perennial favorite still remains the saran wrap penalty, and it's a good thing we went to Costco because it started out with Initial D's Nuts getting that. By the way, great team name. Then came the Green Beret guys. Now, they screwed up a ton. We wound up giving them the four-legged race penalty, and they roped in one of their crew members, a young student who had done nothing wrong at all, just for good measure.
Sometimes the best 24 Hours of Lemons penalties don't hit the track. They simmer in somebody's brain for a long time, and this one had been in Tim Burr's brain for quite a while. He decided that he was going to have a team wire a radio with a loudspeaker and play Ren and Stimpy's Happy Happy Joy Joy on repeat for an hour. It was fantastic.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy.
All right, let's move to the trophies. Here's your winners. All right, let's talk about the more interesting trophies now. Starting with the heroic fix, this was the Dunning-Kruger effect. Very simply, 2 days before the race, they decided, no, our parts car is going to be a better race car than our race car. Let's just work to do that.
I'll make it work.
Passed tech at the end of the day on Sunday, barely got out, car barely ran. This is not how you do it.
Yikes.
And now for I Got Screwed. Team Heavy Haulers in the number 13. They were letting their freak flag fly as they were repping Team Eric in their 83 Chrysler. They blew up their transmission, and that led to a cascading effect of having to go here to pick up this, there to pick up that. They had their own impromptu Beaver Valley Road Rally just to get all the things to find out they couldn't put it together.
Organizer choice went to Birth Control Racing and their Volvo. They hit the wall hard, and Volvos do what they do. Everything breaks to soak up energy, which was, good for the driver, not so good for the car. They said, no. We can fabricate all of these broken, weird-ass Volvo motor mounts, suspension parts, frame structure. We'll just put it all back together. It totally worked. No, it didn't. It didn't work at all. But they never stopped trying. They had the right spirit. They had the right attitude. Nicely done.
Our special trophy this weekend was called the Pittsburgh Polka Kings Big Day Out, and it did not go to the Pittsburgh Polka Kings. You see, what happened is the League of Nigerian Businessmen decided they were going to rebrand themselves and build a real race car, and then they killed it. Mike Anderson, driving with Stranger Danger and the Ruckus Rangers in his 65 Corvair, said, "I got an extra car, you can drive it." The extra car? The prestigious Piss Missile, a 1970-something Opel GT with a 4.2-liter Audi V8. So the award went to Mike Anderson.
Judge's choice went to the Silver Heirs right out of the gate. They put 3 separate holes in their block, one for each point of the star in their little CLK. Most teams would just go home and be angry. No, they said, no, we're here to party, we're gonna have fun, we want to race. So they went to the kart track, they hung around having a great time, helping other people. That's the way you do lemons. We loved it.
Now for the Halloween Meets Gasoline prize. It was really a 2-team effort between Garage Heroes in Training and 3 Pedal Mafia. They showed up with this excellent Kentucky Derby theme. They had a steeplechase at the potluck. They had hobby horses. They were using a hobby horse to flag their drivers down. They did everything right. They stayed in theme all weekend long. They even managed to change their costume based on the weather. There were various states of dressed to the nines, mostly undressed, but it was an excellent theme. Now, while they did have an excellent theme with their Isuzu Ombre, they were also mentoring a brand new rookie team, the Queer Shifting Gears in the 803, and while they did have a little bit of an on-track accident where they torpedoed a Firebird in their Lisa Frank-inspired car, at least they improved over the weekend because they learned how to fix what they messed up.
And that just takes us to the IOE, which was won by Poor Energy Racing and their Tacoma. They bought an old Tacoma V6, they parked it out in front of their house and let it get snowed on for an entire winter. Right before the race said, oh, we gotta build a car. So they threw this thing together, had so much camber, it's like a giraffe drinking from a river, this car. These guys, super nice, kind of didn't know what they were doing. And we said, hey, what do you think your problems are gonna be? They said, well, power steering, the wing, timing belt, or driver error, specifically Norm. Turned out they didn't have any of those problems except, well, they did have Norm.
Oh, come on.
But other than that, one black flag, flawless weekend, and the car was really fast. New spec Miata is the old V6 Tacoma? Quite possibly. Until that happens, here's Lemons in a Nutshell.
Oh, look! Oh, we have it! Oh, no! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is a travesty. Looks like one of the horses has broken a leg. Oh, no!
Oh, the travesty!
Every second you don't subscribe or watch one of these videos, another Vega is sent to the crusher. Won't you help us save Classic?